Hey guys, Bart from TST Industries here. In this video we're going to show you how to install this TST Industries Fender Eliminator on a Honda CBR 600RR years 2003 to 2006. So let's begin. So in the first step, we're going to remove the seats. Remove the passenger seat. And the driver's seat needs to be removed. Peel back on it a little bit and then unscrew these two screws here. I like to leave them in. It makes reinstallation simpler. Pull up on the seat and slide it back and put it to the side. So now we'll need to remove the rear cowling along with these side panels that run down both sides of the bike. To do this, we will be removing these 4 fasteners, these 2 fasteners, and then 2 fasteners that are located here and on the other side in the same location. And then also 2 friction fasteners located in the front of the side panel. All that you need to do is pull it straight out. This is the friction fastener. It fits into a rubber grommet. So again, snap this out and proceed to the disassembly of all these components. One thing I need to note here is that this is an 0506 unit. On the 03 to 04 600RR, these 2 components are going to be slightly different, and then they're going to require a different disassembly method. It is still very similar to this disassembly method, so we will not be shooting a separate video for that bike, as the rest of the steps are pretty much the same. All right, so let's go on to the next step. Now that we have all those fasteners out of these components, we can begin prying away the components, making sure they are loose and ready for removal. Then we will grab one side of the tail, flex it up and over. We'll need to clear this subtray geometry here. And do that on both sides. Now unplug the tail light. Single white plug here in the back. This little tab needs to be pried up so that this releases, just like this. And now we could move the tail assembly to the side. So next step, we'll begin by removing these 4 fasteners, 2 on each side. What I like to do is loosen all of them without taking them off completely. And then what I like to do is remove the plugs for the signals, if there are any on the bike at the moment. This bike has signals that are installed on the fender, so they will have to come off with the fender. Again, we will pry up on the plug tab and withdraw the male plug. All right. Now we can just back out the rest of the fasteners holding the fender assembly on by hand. and put the fender to the side. All right, so now that we have the tail off and we have access to all this geometry here from top and bottom. We're going to take the Fender Eliminator and choose a spot for it to be mounted. This is a fairly universal bracket across all the double R Honda models. It fits the 2003 to 2006 Honda CBR 600 and 07 to 12 and also the 13 plus models. Also fits the 1000 RR from 04 to 07. The only thing that differs on the mounting on those bikes is where you choose to mount this location wise. So on this particular bike, this is an 05 to 06 model, very similar to the 03 to 04. We're basically gonna hold it to the battery tray here and make sure that it's centered. So I think this is where we want it on this bike. What I'm gonna do is grab a paint marker and mark the places where I'm gonna drill holes. Now the instruction sheet instructs on using 2 to 3 holes. On this particular installation, I'm gonna use 2 holes. What I like to do is put my mark pretty much in the middle of the slot, so that way I still have some adjustability up and down and left and right after I drill the holes. So now that I've picked my location, I'll need to go up to the top of the bike and make sure that the battery is out of the way and any other equipment that may be in the way is cleared. We have the battery here, and we also have the starter relay that will need to be moved so that way we don't drill into them. For that, we will need to undo the battery strap and remove the contacts from the battery. I can remove the battery. And we'll also need to move the starter relay from its original location. All right. Now this whole area in the back of the battery box and the relay location is clear, and we could drill into it without having to worry about drilling into any of these components. All right, so now working from the bottom of the bike, we're going to drill the 2 marked spots that we marked before for the location. I am using a 1/4 inch drill bit. You could also use a 6mm drill bit to do this. Now, if you're using a small drill, it's gonna be very easy to get in here and get the drill bit squared up with the surface. I'm actually using a larger drill, so it might be a little bit cumbersome. Just gotta be careful about how you start the hole. All right, we have the holes put in now. What I'm gonna do is go to the top of the bike again and remount these holes that I just put in. Let's make sure that there are no burrs in the way and that the screws will insert properly through these holes. We can now proceed to the installation of the bracket. We're gonna grab the bracket and the hardware kit that it came with. So this is actually the entire hardware kit. This tape is used for positioning purposes. We did our positioning without the tape, so we will not be needing it. These 3 flat fasteners will not be used for this installation. we'll put them to the side. And we will be using 2 screws, 2 washers, and 2 nuts. We'll grab the bracket again, go to the bottom of the bike, insert one of the screws through the slot, put the assembly into the battery tray, grab a washer and a nut, go up to the top, and we'll now place the washer on top of this screw. And also put the nut on top of the screw and thread it in. Here I'm using a magnetic retractor. It just makes this job a lot simpler. Now I'm going to take the second screw, go to the bottom, put it in the other slot, through the hole, go to the top again, put on the washer and a nut, and now I'm going to finger tighten this together and go to the bottom of the bike for a final positioning before I tighten everything down with tools. I want to bring this up a little bit as far as it'll go and center it, and that is now ready to be tightened. In this following step, I will be replacing the license plate on the new Fender Eliminator using the hardware that came on the bike. What I like to do is keep it fairly loose because we still have this amount of adjustability here, just in case we're not centered completely. We could still center it just by manipulating the license plate itself. I'll do a final check here. Make sure it's center and level. Looks centered to me. And now that it's tight, this part is ready. One additional note here is that most places require that you have your license plate lit. We do sell a license plate light kit that works well with the rest of our kits. You can see the installation video on our channel, and you could also check out the part on our website. So we'll now move on to the reassembly in the reverse order of disassembly, and this bike will then be ready to go.